database originally was to be our one-stop shop internally, so that includes travel expenses and everything. So we've been able to be a little more efficient with things like Expensify, our file sharing through OneDrive, etc. They've been a little easier than here, but the files section is really important. We're capped with our current server, so that's why we do everything off OneDrive. But what is key for the file section for you guys to know is any project that's created in here, the sales team will go in and upload the proposal, the PDF of the proposal, and then the Excel workbook. Those things are going to evolve eventually where all the budgeting and pricing is done online, so you'll be able to just go in there and see it. You won't have to download the Excel workbook. But for now, that's where you can find all that stuff. And then once they receive a PO, they'll put it in there. The notes section is pretty much neglected by everybody but the accounting and finance, and it shouldn't be. If there's anything major that happens with a project that's budget impacting especially, feel free to drop a text or a Word document in there that says what's what. But the notes section, the accounting folks will say, hey, cash received on this date. And that's what you'll usually see in there. So our responsibility as the engineering team, I've said it 2 or 3 times already. If you see anything out of the normal, just bring it up, right? Go to Trey or myself, Dave, whomever, even Josh, because he works intimately with the database too. So say, hey man, I'm not seeing something looks weird, the budget's off, there's not a workbook or a proposal in there, etc. One thing we've had recently was there was an issue with time you coded to a project where the rate was like saying $8 million something coded to the project. So there are certain bugs. I cross-reference your other projects, and it's a glitch with that particular project. So if we ever see that,
oh, I thought it was because they don't have a salary set.
No, he's got a rate. He's got a rate in there.
I know that was what happened when we had the co-ops originally. They were getting like 150 grand an hour or something like that.
I think it was Emory. Yeah, I'll show you. So let me move this over. Let me move this over real quick. So just to show you guys for an example. So you see there's only 50 hours coded to the project, but it says there's $796,000 over budget, right? So this is my point. If you see something like this, obviously you're not going to have privileges in the database to go in there and change code and fix it, but you need to be aware of it, right? You need to know, hey, I only coded, let's see how many hours were coded for that. So for Kel, he had 8 hours, but we tracked it down, something with the glitch in this project. So it's saying $800,000. So he's making $100,000 an hour, which is awesome. And you're gonna have to give me some of that money.
I could have worked 1 hour here and quit.
That's right. We're glad you didn't. But that's my whole point of this, right? Don't just neglect the database, and it's easy to do, right? It really is. But the timesheets in the database management, as simple as they are and as easy as they can be to forget, it's a pride thing. Take pride in it. Make sure that you're going back, auditing yourself, checking out others, right? Because say this is a one-man engineering project, right? Somebody comes knocking on your door in finance, or even Mr. CEO himself, right? Hey, I don't want to say any names in here, right? I don't want to throw anybody under the bus for this example. What if he comes to my desk, right, and says, hey, Jonathan, you've got a project, and it's saying the budget was 8 hours. It's saying you got 62 hours coded to it, right? I need to know why. So if I go in here and I look, and Matein's name popped up, so I'm going to use him for example. He coded 60 hours on my project, and I only coded 2. I need to know that, right? I need to be like, hey, look, it looks like a mistake was made. He was either accidentally assigned or accidentally coded to the wrong project. So keep a track on it. It's super easy to do. Check it each week or each day as you're dealing with your timesheets, and that's kind of how you'll see it. But my whole point for that exercise was, stuff can happen in there, and you want to know about it in advance. That way, somebody's not trying to knock on your door and ask what's going on. So, anyways, that's all I have. In the slideshow, my last slide was questions. So I know I breezed through that trying to make up some time. I went over a little longer than I thought, but is there any questions you guys have?
I got a simple one.
Okay.
So like Monday, it was
I don't know, like maybe 2 or 4 hours where I had to redo some post-processing because my page size wasn't correct and the engineer could, or the customer couldn't see the antennas.
Great question.
How would I do that?
Was it a retainer project?
That's no, it was an American Tower deal. That is a good question. So that thing, a situation like that is going to be case to case. The original stuff that was generated you didn't know about, so just track those hours like they're supposed to be, right? And again, go back to the notes section, be like, hey, so if it is a budget overage type scenario, I don't know what it'll end up shaking out to be for this particular project. So you can look at that with Andrew and all that, but you're going to put in the notes, hey, customer came back, had a specific request to change legends, whatever it may be, reduce the what do you call it, the bin style, reduce the bin style size, change page layout, that sort of thing. Just track it in the notes, and if it is going to be a budget overage scenario, you just want to bring that to light up front, right, before you submit your time sheet. Be like, hey, Trey, there's 4 hours the customer came back and asked on this stuff. It wasn't a change order scenario, but our hands were tied, we had to do it. So as long as you got it in the notes section, it'll help clarify, especially when your time sheet's getting approved. You know, if it's something small and you have a note in there, you know, it helps us know if a situation like that happened or whatever. One thing I forgot to mention was, well, I talked on it briefly, was the Monday meeting. For now, we'll probably just keep doing it. That way we got everybody's time. As we keep growing, that may change, but any like staff meeting or team meeting, if you can bake that into a project, right, excluding retainer projects. You don't want to code that extra hour to a retainer project. If you can bake that time into a normal project and still stay under budget, an hour doesn't kill you on your budget, include that there. If not, that's when we talked about the admin stuff. So that's all I got, unless you guys got anything else. Oh, thanks for the applause. Yeah, it's super simple stuff, but just do your best, keep up